Welcome back to Let's Play Metroid. Today we're going back through Norfair and Brinstar, so we're doing two areas in one video, but they're both areas we've already been to, doing a little bit of item cleanup along the way, mostly in Norfair. And as mentioned before, you're also going to see a little edit in the middle of this video, because I forgot to pick up a few missile tanks when I was recording this, so I went back for those later and I added them in the middle of this video. Not at like a completely random moment or anything, but you'll see. Also in part 6 there's gonna be another edit, but not because I forgot to pick something up, more so just to save time, because it involves a lot of backtracking and I didn't want to have to talk over that, so I just cut it out. So yeah, not a lot is happening in this video. In Norfair we're just gonna pick up a bunch of missile tanks, and back in Brinstar we're picking up that one major item that I didn't get earlier because I need the high jump boots in order to get to it. Which I now have, so now I can get that item that once again would have been really useful in both Ridley's Lair and Norfair, but it just didn't fit in my route. Also, for another little behind the scenes trivia, the day I'm recording the audio for this video is April 30th, 2014. The day I recorded the footage for what you're looking at on screen right now was April 30th, 2013. Now the reason for it is because about half a year ago I decided to completely start over my Let's Play channel. I still had all the footage, but I decided to redo all the audio recordings. So that's the reason it took me so long, but technically this is a Let's Play almost a year in the making, or over a year in the making. Now obviously it's not gonna matter to you because you're just watching this whenever and you wouldn't even notice it, but I just thought I'd bring it up. I'm looking at the footage and notice I'm taking a detour. I just remembered there's one other thing other than missile tanks we're gonna be picking up in Norfair today. A major item, that is. So to correct an earlier statement, today we're gonna be picking up two major items. One in Norfair, one in Brinstar. So that's why I'm taking sort of a detour through the left side of Norfair. Again, if you're not going for items, you never have to be here at all. And it saves a lot of time, but I like collecting items because I like to survive. Then again, the one item we're going here for really isn't essential. The first time I played this game I never picked it up at all. So yeah, but for the sake of doing a Let's Play I want to show it off anyway, because I want to show off everything, because that's what I do on here. Though I think that back in my Donkey Kong Country Let's Play, my first Let's Play, I might have said that that was gonna be the only 100% run I'll ever do, which isn't true anymore. I just decided to do it with every game I play. The reason I probably said that back then was because I actually failed getting a 100% in a Metroid playthrough, so I was sort of unmotivated to do it anymore. But I changed my mind again and went back to this game, collect the items I missed, and now every playthrough on this channel is gonna be a 100% and try to show off everything I can. So more behind the scenes trivia. I don't have a lot to talk about in this video until I get to the major items. That I explain about the major items and then have nothing to talk about again. And we're only just now at 3 minutes of a video that's almost half an hour long. This video is kinda longer than it needs to be because of all the backtracking for that one major item. And you might be wondering, why didn't I pick that item up the first time we went through Norfair? I'll also explain that when we actually get to the item itself. Because there is, and there's a similar reason for why I'm even picking up this item in the first place, other than wanting to show it off. In the meantime, look at all those empty E-tanks. Don't worry, I'm not gonna die, because this is another one of my almost no death runs, and I already had my one death earlier in this playthrough. But regardless, I really am fucking up. I'm not very good at surviving in this game. But ignoring the whole problems with the structure, I can't really complain about how this game plays. It plays just fine, it controls okay. It's no Super Metroid. I love them Super Metroid. The knockback can be a bit annoying, but not nearly as annoying as in, say, like Mega Man or Castlevania. So if it wasn't for the whole Metroidvania aspect, which it simply wasn't ready for, this game would hold up just fine for an NES game. And technically it still does, because nowadays you can just play it with an FAQ or a map or anything internet related. So this game is better played now than it was back then, but now we have better alternatives. We have better Metroidvania games. Like Super Metroid. I love Super Metroid. I wanna play Super Metroid. Super Metroid. Super Metroid. You know how when you repeat words an awful lot you start thinking about them? Because now I'm imagining a Metroid with a little Superman cape, because I said Super Metroid so many times. Though technically in terms of this game we still don't know what a Metroid actually looks like. For a game called Metroid we're not seeing a whole lot of Metroids. That's like calling your game The Legend of Zelda, even though you don't see Zelda until the very end of the... Wait a minute. Subject change. These pillars, I was talking about them earlier, how you can get stuck between them unless you know about that morph ball bomb jumping trick I mentioned before. I mean, with the high jump boots it looks like you should be able to jump out of them, but then there's the lava that gimps your jump, so then you're screwed. We are almost at the major item. The layout here to getting there is actually pretty similar to that one area in Brinstar where we got the ice beam. Small corridor with a breakable floor and lava underneath, or fake lava rather. Then you go slightly down and to the left and then you're at the weapon upgrade. Oh, spoiler alert, it's a weapon upgrade. Not like it matters, we're getting it in like 20 seconds. But yeah, it's a different beam weapon, which is also the reason why I'm only getting it now and not when I went here the first time, because I wanted to use the ice beam on Ridley. Because once we pick up this beam weapon, we technically lose the ice beam. You can always go back to where you got the ice beam to get the ice beam back, but then if you want to go back to this one again, you have to go back all the way here, and the point is that you can only have one beam weapon at a time, as opposed to later Metroid games where they actually stack up. You also can't manually switch between the two. So as I said, then you have to go back to the right location to get it back. But anyway, now we have the wave beam. First of all, it has a little swirly pattern, so it technically covers a wider range and you no longer have to use the morph ball bombs to kill smaller enemies. And on top of that, it also goes through walls and platforms, so you can shoot an enemy from almost anywhere. Very useful. Love it. Love the wave beam. So sadly we're gonna have to go back to the ice beam later on, for a reason I will also explain later on. Anyway, those 5 or so minutes we just spent taking a detour to get the wave beam, we can now spend backtracking the way to where we were. Yay, backtracking. I also think playing a Metroidvania like this with a map and planning out exactly where you need to go can make it a lot more fun, because you can plan out what routes you should take to minimize backtracking and such. When you go where, in what order. I never do that my first time playing the game, but later playthroughs I like doing that because I like doing that. I just find it fun to analyze and plan things out like that. And I'm sure there are others like that as well. Right now I'm also preparing for a Let's Play of Metroid 2 Return of Samus, where I do play the game with a map the first time, but not plan things out. I just use it to know where I am and where things are. And then after I'm done with an area, then I plan out the map, like what did I just do and what would be the best order to do it in. Then I do another test playthrough in order to see if that all checks out, and then I start recording it. So you're getting a lot of behind the scenes today, which you may or may not care about. Oh well, for those who care. For those who might want to start their own Let's Play channel and looking for ways to handle those things. There are lots of ways you can do these things in. You can do it planned out or blind, you can do it live or pre-recorded. Maybe tool assisted, maybe a speed run, maybe a 100% run, maybe in a group. Nuzlocke or some other challenge run. How would a Nuzlocke Metroid challenge even work? You can only pick up one item per area. Though I don't think that would work, because in Brinstar you already have to get both the morph ball and the morph ball bombs, otherwise you can't really go anywhere. Unless you know some fancy glitching that I don't know of. Actually, I did try to research Metroid 1 glitches, but the only one I could find was the one where you go back through the door and then go up to the ceiling, which I mentioned before for getting that one major item in Brinstar, which I actually do show off in an extra video, but I wanted to make an own video for like full of glitches, but I only had one to show off, so that's just in the cheat code video. Which is weird, because Metroidvania games usually have a lot of people who try to sequence break the game, or glitch, or just do anything to make it go faster or out of order, but I couldn't find anything on Metroid 1. I could try some other sources later on, but I would also need to see how it works so I can try to replicate it. And I did check a lot of videos, but they were all just the same glitch where you go through the ceiling by using the doors. So I guess that ends there. If I somewhere in the future suddenly discover like a whole bunch of new glitches, I can always go back and make another glitch video. And I'm sure I'll have enough glitches to show off when I get to Super Metroid. I want to get to Super Metroid, and Sonic 3, and Mario World. But I'm doing things in order, so first I'm gonna have to sit through a whole lot of first games in series before I get to the better sequels. Not necessarily. Sequels aren't always better. Well, in video games, most of the time sequels are usually better, not all of the times, but in like movies and such, then the sequels aren't guaranteed to be better. Please don't start naming a whole bunch of video games where the first one is much better than all of the sequels. Though I'm probably a minority who likes Kingdom Hearts 1 the best compared to the later sequels. Not that they're bad. I I don't really want to talk about Kingdom Hearts right now. Metroid, back to Metroid. Do I have anything to say about Metroid? You know those crawling enemies that sometimes walk around breakable platforms? If you break those platforms, then the enemies start to freak out and spin around rapidly in midair. That's funny, I guess. I need something. My god, I just fell into the lava and couldn't get out because I couldn't see myself because of my own frame rate, not necessarily the game's frame rate. Well, maybe a little the game's frame rate, but mostly my own frame rate. Suddenly I'm down to 35 health points. In fact, I might as well die because I respawn with 30 health points anyway. In fact, if it happened earlier, I probably would have done that, but now I'm so close to the entrance of Norfair anyway, so I might as well just keep going. And now 10 minutes later, just to get the wave beam, mind you, we're finally back to the main area of Norfair when we can finally start collecting those missiles, along with the missiles I actually missed my first time, and you're going to see a little edit, and I already said all of this, I'm repeating myself. But yeah. And just one more time, why exactly I missed those missiles? Because I'm an idiot. I mean, I had them on the map, I had arrows pointing to them on the map, and I was following the map, but I guess I just wasn't looking at the map at the time. I don't really remember because this was like a year ago I recorded this. Exactly a year ago, today. But at this point I was still looking at the map because here I'm standing in front of this door and you notice me stop and not doing anything because I was looking at the map to see if it was the right door. Wasn't the right door, so I moved on. So just by that little pause you saw, you can see I'm looking at the map at that point. So in the end, anything could have happened. What also might have happened is because this is the second time going through Norfair, I thought I might have already picked those up my first time I went through Norfair. In the end, I get those missiles anyway after a little edit, so it doesn't matter. Unless you want to get really nitpicky about this not being a complete, legit 100% run. Indeed it isn't, but I'm also just not doing it for myself. You still get to see where exactly those missiles are, so you shouldn't be complaining, I should be complaining. And I am complaining. I do nothing but complaining. What happened in my life that made me so pessimistic all the time? What happened? I used to be an actor when I was 1 year old. Then I turned 2 and it all went to shit. My acting career went down. Got a drug addiction. Again at the age of 2. Okay, I'll stop trying to be funny now. Though maybe not all of that was just to be funny. Maybe I was an actor at the age of 1. By the way, right here, I'm about to take a shortcut through the wall that is really pointless. I mean, you're just going left and then 2 rooms down, and I might as well just go right and then 2 rooms down. It doesn't really need to be here, but it's here anyway, and I don't know, it's easier, I guess? It's not a big deal. Oh well, at the very least it gives me something to talk about. But, yeah, no, you can get to the room below just as easy from the other side. And I think you can only use it to get down because, well, gravity, there are no platforms to get up here. But there are those bricks on the side, so I guess you could use those, but it's easier to just take a normal route, and there's graphical glitches. That is, not supposed to be blue, with like 1 green spot. That was weird. It does happen more often. I think it has something to do with falling down sections where I guess the loading can't keep up with how fast you're falling. Something like that. And what is this? A major item room? But I thought we already got all the major items in Norfair. So what could this be? I already know exactly what this could be. It's the ice beam. Or rather, another place where you can get the ice beam. And probably the place where most people get their ice beam the first time. Because the other place is a bit harder to find. This is one place you're probably gonna run into. Or are slightly more likely to run into. But now we have all the missile tanks that are to find in Norfair. At least, that's what I thought when I was recording this. But after I exit this room, you're gonna see the little edit I promised. Where I pick up the items I missed. And I'm an idiot. I was so close to it and I walked right past it. Edit! Thank you. Remember, this is to show off where they are. So I'm still at the exact same location. Just this was recorded at a different time. You can see that by the difference in my health and my missiles. But yeah, I knew this was here. It's very obvious this is here. It's not like it's a hidden room or anything, but I don't know what happened. So yeah, I'm just here to collect 2 missile tanks, then I'll be out of this room and you'll see a cut, and then we're back to exactly where I was before the edit. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm here to collect 3 missile tanks. Then we're going back and then we're heading to the entrance of Norfair. Then at the entrance of Norfair, you're gonna see another edit to pick up another 2 missiles I missed. Then it's back to the normal, non-edited playthrough and I can finally put this whole mistake thing behind me. Well, until the next mistake in another playthrough, but I hope that never happens, because the worst part of this wasn't the fact that I made a mistake, but more so going back to find exactly where I made a mistake. So that took me a while. I had to sit through all the footage again, so I hope I never have to do that again. And edit! Thank you. I don't know who I'm thanking. I'm thanking the editor. I'm the editor. But yeah, now it's back to the normal playthrough for about a minute, and then you'll see another edit. I remember this hallway. I remember having to use the morph ball bomb on most of these enemies because I couldn't duck or shoot down or anything. But now we have the wave beam, so it's all good. Actually, that's always fun in a Metroidvania, going back to early game areas, so now you're all powered up and everything's really easy and you can just destroy everything. Metroidvanias. The hardest part is always early game when you really don't have anything. What am I standing on? Are these clouds? Did I accidentally walk into Kid Icarus? I don't know. I mean, I guess smoke clouds from the lava, which is highly unlikely because first of all, we shouldn't be able to walk on that. Second of all, they're awfully static for smoke clouds. I don't know. I don't know. I'm thinking about this because the answer is NES game. Not like not in a bad way or anything, but then again, also not really in a edit. Thank you. By the way, all the missile tanks and such I'm collecting here in Norfair, I really could have gotten the first time around, but I decided to wait because you saw how long part 2 of this playthrough was. I didn't want to have to make that video any longer, so this way it was a bit more streamlined. Also, if I went here at the beginning of part 2, I probably would have died, and kinda like Ridley's lair. Oh, and the missile tanks on the other side, I would need the high jump boots for those, so I would have to go back, then up, then go back down again, and I didn't want to do that. But yeah, just to let you know, everything I'm getting here, there's nothing stopping you from getting it the first time, with exception of maybe getting the high jump boots, but those you also find here in Norfair. But I can choose to pick those up later. I have the option, I can plan things out, and again, I love Metroidvanias, I just don't like this one because it couldn't really be what a Metroidvania needs to be. And it was still a financial success, and people still go out of their way to buy this game. Hell, I still went out of my way to buy this game off the Virtual Console. But that really doesn't have anything to do with how good this game is or anything. It's just the history value, and I'm a collector of experience. Well, selectively. I don't really care about experiencing every single game, just the ones I care about. I don't care if I can die happily knowing I never played Metroid Pinball. Oh, by the way, we're done with the cleanup. I got every single missile I missed on my original Let's Play. We don't have all the missiles in the game yet, because we still need to go through Kraid's lair, but and you will also never see me with the max amount of missiles, which is 255, but I did show off every single missile tank that is there to find in the game. But yeah, I finally never have to look back on that failure ever again. It may not seem like a big deal, but I did feel really bad when I found out I missed those missile tanks and went like, ow. Mostly because I had no fucking idea where to start looking. But I did find them, went back for them, and now I got them, and I'm done. I'm still not done with this playthrough, but at least with that part I'm done. In terms of this full playthrough, well, we're halfway done. In fact, we're over halfway done, because the final 2 parts of this Let's Play are gonna be a lot shorter than the other ones. Especially the last one, that's probably the shortest part. I just noticed I still have the ice beam in this little edit cleanup. I never picked up the wave beam because it wasn't really necessary unless I wanted to tie it in with a normal playthrough, which doesn't really matter because in a few seconds we're gonna edit! Thank you! And now we're finally completely done in Norfair, and we just have to make a quick trip through Brinstar with getting 1 item along the way, and then after that it's getting to Kraid's lair. Sadly though, we enter Brinstar at the very bottom, and the item we need is at the very top of Brinstar. And then we need to go to Kraid's lair, which again is at the very bottom of Brinstar, so this really is longer than it needs to be. But then again, it's Brinstar. This was the first area of the game, but now we have missiles, E-tanks, screw attack, wave beam, we have everything. Well, I say we have E-tanks, but they're kind of empty. But we have missiles and wave beam and screw attack. We pretty much have every single major item in the game with one exception, and that's what we're getting right now. Well, 5 minutes from now. I really should have used the door glitch to get that item early, but I 1 wanted to do it legitimately, and 2 I don't really know how to do that glitch reliably. but I would have gotten a lot more use out of it, especially in Norfair and Ridley's Lair. Also, I don't think I've showed off yet that at the very top of Brinstar is also the entrance to Torian, but we can't really do anything there right now. We can shoot the Ridley statue, but the bridge only appears when we can shoot both the Crate and the Ridley statue, and we can't shoot the Crate statue because we have yet to defeat Crate. You'll see it when we get to part 6 and we have to go to Torian anyway, so there's an easy way to remember the layout of Brinstar. There are essentially two main vertical areas, the blue one and the yellow one. We're going through the yellow one right now, and then you just need to remember what is on the blue side and what is on the yellow side. On the left blue side there is the beginning area and also the entrance to Kraid's Lair at the very bottom, the long beam somewhere in the middle, and then the entrance to Torian at the very top. And on the yellow right side there is, at the very bottom, is your first missile tank along with the entrance to Norfair. In the middle the first E-tank and the way to the morph ball bombs, and then at the very top is that one green area where you can get both a missile, an E-tank, and that one major item we're going to right now. So that's not very difficult. I think Brinstar and Ridley's Lair have the easiest to remember layouts. In Norfair I know exactly what way to go in order to get to Ridley's Lair and what doors take me to optional areas, but I can still get lost in some of the optional areas themselves. In Kraid's Lair there's pretty much this really big vertical area you start off in, and then on the left and right sides there are all kinds of different doors. You can go all kinds of ways, and I tend to get lost there as well unless I'm in that big vertical area. And Torian, you're not gonna get lost at Torian because there's only one way to go, just straight forward. But here's a little fun fact, what I just said about Kraid's Lair, where you start off in this big vertical area with different doors on the right and left sides. That layout will later be given in Super Metroid to the beginning of Norfair, where you also start off in this big vertical area with doors to the left and right. That's just something I've noticed because I play a lot of Super Metroid and I wanna play Super Metroid. Anyway, 3 parts later we're now back here, and this time we have the high jump boots so we can get to the room that's above us, and never mind because I just passed by it because I'm not looking at the map. Now I'm looking at the map and realized I need to go back. Now we have the high jump boots and can go to the room above us. Once again, the item we're coming up to, if you really want to put it to optimal use, you go to Norfair, get the high jump boots, then go back here, get the item, and then do Norfair and Ridley's Lair. Oh, and the wave beam kind of makes it a little harder to get up here because you're shooting them all at once, then they're all gonna reappear at once. And with them I mean the bricks, because you kind of need one in the middle or something to stand on so you can jump again from there to get enough height. Oh, and I should have brought this up before, the one glitch I keep talking about, how you glitch through the ceiling, that's actually not a very safe glitch to do. It's pretty dangerous because you can get stuck within the wall and then you can't really go anywhere, so then you would have to restart your game, and that's never fun. Regardless, we're now finally getting the item I keep foreshadowing without actually talking about, because otherwise I wouldn't really have anything to talk about right now that we're actually getting the item itself. But without any further ado now, here it is, the final major item of this game, the Varia Suit that when we touch it turns us fabulous! Yes, this item turns us pink. Even more pink when we go into missile shooting mode. But ignoring how amazingly stylish this item is, this is the Varia Suit. It's pretty much a defensive item. We automatically have it and we take less damage than we did before. So pretty useful to have, but on top of that it also makes us immune to lava. Not every kind of lava, only the kind of lava found in Norfair and Ridley's Lair, which we're not going back to, so that is why I keep saying that that's pretty much where you get the most use out of it. There is lava in Torian, but you still take damage from that. I mean, less damage because the Varia Suit is still a damage decreaser, but still, why not? Why is it very specific lava that it protects us from? But regardless, I have more trivia. The Varia Suit is a mistranslation of the word barrier suit, because, well, it acts as a barrier. But they didn't translate it correctly and now it's called Varia Suit. But I have my own little explanation for why it's called that, because in later games it actually becomes a barrier for extreme heat and extreme cold. So it basically protects you from a variety of temperatures. Variety? Varia? No? Okay. I thought I'd come up with an explanation of some sort, but sure. On a completely different note, I'm actually working on a story, which has something called the 4 combat basics, which I like to think I came up with myself, but I'm sure someone else already came up with. But regardless, the 4 combat basics as I came up with them are ranged combat, melee combat, defense, and movement, or agility. Now, why do I bring this up out of nowhere in a Metroid commentary? Because of the major items in this game. There are the Ice Beam and the Wave Beam, ranged combat, the Screw Attack, melee combat, the Varia Suit for defense, and the High Jump Boots for agility. Now, this probably wasn't their actual intention, and I'm not an expert on any sort of combat. It's just something I came up with, and I just thought I'd bring it up because I noticed it kind of a few minutes ago. So, that's a thing. Or not. Just something I thought I'd bring up because I need to fill up time, because I don't really have anything to talk about right now other than that one Varia Suit trivia. I shouldn't have explained so much in the first part. I might have stuff to talk about. Well, I have a bit more, but I'll wait with that until it's relevant. Kraid's Lair, I mean. And Torian. Bit of Torian. Torian, luckily is gonna be very short, and at least there I have the Metroids to talk about. And Kraid's Lair is also pretty short, and I have stuff to talk about there, like, well, Kraid himself, and... Hey look, more graphical glitches. Oh, graphical glitches. That's not supposed to be brown. Speaking of, well, color, I guess. That's something I like about Brinstar, is everything is pretty recognizable to know where you are in terms of what color it is. And recognizing things by both their layout and their color is something I'll touch on more when I do a Let's Play of Metroid 2 Return of Samus. What it comes down to is that Metroid 1 lacks distinct layouts and it copies and pastes a lot so areas look alike. Metroid 2 lacks colors. So if you combine Metroid 1 and 2 so that you have distinct colors and distinct layouts, well, you get Super Metroid. I wanna play Super Metroid. Oh, and here's something to remember, and that I'm actually showing off right now, is that there's an E-tank in the ceiling up here. I can't really get it right now because I prefer to freeze an enemy in midair so I can jump on them and then get to that E-tank. But I think there is a way to get to that E-tank by using Morph Ball bombs to get up higher, but I don't really know how to do it, and if I tried it would take a lot of time and I didn't feel like doing that, so I'll get it later when I do have the Ice Beam. But here's the entrance to Kraid's Lair, right at the beginning of the goddamn game. We just couldn't get to it because we didn't have the Morph Ball bombs yet, but yeah, it was right here, all along. We walked right over it because we didn't have Morph Ball bombs. But anyway, that's the end of part 4 of Let's Play Metroid. I hope you join me next time when we're gonna go through Kraid's Lair, take down Kraid himself, and then after that it's finally time to go after Mother Brain and beat this son of a bitch. So I hope I will see you then!